Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's comic book review. Before I turn it over to Mike, like I advertised right before the end of part 1, I showed you guys in part 1 about the green Spider-Man costume. Also advertised in X-23, which I noticed as Amber was reading it, in Spider-Man 650. There's an advertisement for the red costume. I don't know. There's gonna be new costumes coming out for Spider-Man. There's gonna be this red one and that green one. Looks interesting. Hopefully they're not permanent costumes. I'm hoping that that's a temporary costume for a specific storyline, and then they go back to the original.
Yeah, I have to be honest.
It doesn't look that good.
Spider-Man in those costumes is not Spider-Man.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Okay, so now I'm going to be turning it over to Michael, who actually has something Spider-Man related as well. So, come on. Take that.
Okay, this is from a daily newspaper on Wednesday, November 17th.
The daily newspaper.
Yeah, the daily newspaper for people who live in New York. The Amazing Spider-Man #1, You're Hired.
Wow.
I've read this comic. It's a short mini comic book. Basically, first it talks about how Peter Parker lost his job due to, what was it again?
J. Jonah Jameson, he was protecting him by doctoring a picture, and then J. Jonah Jameson found out it was doctored and he fired him.
So basically, he's looking for a job, and we see Aunt May and Peter Parker on the train, and they're talking about where his next career will be. And from the cover up here, we meet with our New York mayor, Mayor Mike Bloomberg, who appears in this comic book. And he tells him that he doesn't know of a job to work at. So he talks to him about working at Workforce One, which I never heard about.
It's intertwined with the city.
Yeah, it's like part of the NYC.gov website, I believe.
Yeah, because it's the people who wrote the comic, here it is. It's not just Marvel, it's NYC also. NYC.gov wrote it with Marvel.
He does encounter with some villains. Like the first villain he encounters is the Vulture, and when Mayor Bloomberg was trying to talk to him about that, he's like saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go get a drink of water because I'm a little dehydrated." So then he fights the Vulture, and of course catches him, New York's finest bald person, because he has no hair. And then he goes back, and he then Iron Man calls him on his cell phone to go fight the big evil robot that's terrorizing the city. And he's like, you know, my stomach's a little upside. I'm going to go to the bathroom. And Aunt May gets mad at him because he's trying to talk to him about the job at Workforce One. And him and Iron Man defeat the gigantic robot. And then when he goes back, there's a conference. I want to show the last page, actually, right here. Where
just put the whole thing down and just hold up the last page.
Yeah. Where right here in this panel, if you don't mind, I'd like to read it of what he says.
Good.
Mayor Bloomberg says, that's okay. You're on, and I had a great chat. You can visit Workforce One and get started, or check out NYC.gov or call 311. An amazing New Yorker taught me that with great power comes great responsibility. Sound familiar? And this is what Bloomberg says. And Workforce One takes that pledge seriously. You'll let me know how job search goes, won't you? And Peter says, I will. Thanks again, Mayor Bloomberg. Then Bloomberg says, no, Peter, thank you.
Yeah, Mayor Bloomberg actually was in, wait a minute, am I going to get that? Mayor Bloomberg was at Midtown Comics this past Wednesday, and he actually mentioned that Spider-Man is the cornerstone of, he is New York. When you think New York, you think Spider-Man.
Yes, and you could also download this at comics, right here's the link, marvel.com/Marvel Comics
let me get
app, right there. Yeah.
Wait,
so
Mike,
yeah.
don't move it.
Oh, sorry.
You guys, marvel.com/Marvel Comic app.
Yes. I'll give a little review of it. The artwork was great. The storyline was good to read, and Spider-Man #1. If you haven't read Daily Newspaper Wednesday, you could pick it up or download.
Is there another part?
No, because actually the thing said the end in the end of the panel, and it's a good comic book. If you haven't picked this up Wednesday, you could pick it up or download it.
They're going to have to download it now. The
Daily
Newspaper
just came out Wednesday, like I said. But it was great reading, and I really enjoyed The Amazing Spider-Man #1. And now we'll go back to my brother Chris, Dark Avenger.
Yeah, I just gotta say one
with
thing.
his-
It's really cool that the New York City government is actually sponsoring comics now. I like that.
Bloomberg
Absolutely.
actually said that Spider-Man represents a lot of New York now, and you know Spider-Man's
True.
doing great. Big
Yes, he
time,
is.
new costumes,
Yeah.
newspaper.
Awesome.
You know why? Because Bendis got off of it.
That's a
Which,
good
by
thing.
the way, actually more news. The death of Spider-Man that's being advertised so much is the Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, the only Spider-Man title that Bendis is still writing.
Not so good.
Yeah.
Let's see what
They're
that's
gonna kill the Ultimate Spider-Man probably. That's just great.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter anyway. It's the Ultimate Universe as long as they leave the original alone. And was there any other news from Marvel? I feel like I'm forgetting something. The Ultimate Spider-Man dies. I feel like I'll remember at some point, but yeah, there's the death of Spider. Oh, it's in DC Comics. We'll get to that when I get to the comic. All right, we're moving into DC Comics now. We got a lot of DC.
That's
If
an
you guys
awesome
know, I
cover.
didn't drop a lot of DC. I dropped more Marvel than DC. I jumped
Flash.
back onto it just in time. The Flash with this awesome cover. And
Yes.
Jeff Johns got the 2010 Spike TV Scream Award winner for Best Comic Book Writer, I believe, again. I think he got last year's also. The Flash, Brightest Day tie-in, #6. So the top is really the guy that killed the Boomerang from the past. From the future. And Flash breaks free from the judge and goes and confronts the top, and he's like, I want answers, I want to know why you did this, what's the big, and he's like, I'm trying to figure out the past, things are changing, something's wrong, and in the end they arrest the top, and that's it. What interested me, and I know Amber doesn't like Wonder Woman, but I'm actually thinking of picking up Wonder Woman starting January when things go down to
Please tell me it's the
$2.99.
old costume.
It involves the old costume and the new costume.
Oh,
And
okay.
there's a preview for another new character, but we'll get into that in a minute. It's these two panels. Starts here where they mention they notice that there's a fluctuation, and then it goes into this panel where you guys can see, I know what most of these pictures are from, the Batman Return of Bruce Wayne, the Brightest
Cool.
Day tie-in, Death meeting with Lex Luthor, another Batman Returns, the same picture of Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
I
that's
have
the
no
cool
idea
stuff
about
in that.
Titans.
Awesome.
Titans, I have no idea, but I'm sure this happened in Titans recently. And you get introduced to a new person that will be introduced. I noticed it's in the February solicitations, right here. He's going to be policing the Speed Force. Everything now is leading into Flashpoint. Flashpoint apparently has something to do with all the changes that are going on in the past. Wonder Woman,
Pretty cool.
and a lot of things are going to be happening in Flashpoint that are going to fix. Either it's going to fix the timeline, or the timeline will forever be
What if that
messed
new
up.
character will eventually get his own side comic book series or something?
The motorcycle guy?
Yeah.
No, probably
Yeah.
not. No, he won't. Trust me. He's probably not going to make it past Flashpoint 2-1.
Probably.
So Flashpoint will be taking place next year. There's one more issue of the Flash that'll be tying the Brightest Day, and then the issue, starting issue 8, I believe, it's all going to be tying into and leading up to Flashpoint. I'm eager to see Flashpoint. It looks really interesting. It looks really, it's going to be intense. I just wish that DC would chill with all these major events. There's a major event going on in Flash. There's major events still going on in Green
they're
Lantern.
interesting.
Superman, there's no major event going on. That's the only. I love Superman. Don't get me wrong, but there's no main event going on for Superman. But I'll be damned. Green Lantern, now the Flash with Flashpoint. Come on. Moving into the next comic. How'd you like it?
I want the next one.
I'm getting the next one. I just might not get the one after the next one if I don't like it.
This is number 3.
Amber read X-23 number 3 while we were doing all this. Okay, I'm
I
getting
like
the
it.
next one.
I like it.
Okay, good. Well, you have a job now, so you'll be able to buy new comics also. She got a job recently, guys, so Amber might actually be buying.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
You know.
Yes, hopefully. So hopefully Amber will be buying comics for herself soon.
I'm definitely getting X-23 if that's the case.
Okay, continuing along. Supergirl 58. The whole... Okay, this looks like a rehash of what happened back in the 90s with Cat Grant, except this time it's Supergirl that's with her instead of Superman, because Superman, once again, is still doing his grounded thing. So Supergirl goes with Cat Grant to the prison to confront Toyman, because she's been getting toys sent to her. And she thinks it's Toyman doing it all over again. Now, for those of you who don't know, Toyman killed Cat Grant's son back in 1994. I could be wrong. It's back when Superman had long hair. That's all I know. It could be 93. 93, 94. As a matter of fact, in this issue, they in one of the panels where Lana is driving home, they have a picture of the comic cover that the comic was in. And Mike's giving me the finger, so once I show you guys, here's the actual cover. Here's the cover. That's what the cover looked. That's a redraw of the cover. All right, so we will be back in part 3, where I will continue along with the story in Supergirl. Stick around, guys. See you in the next part.